For 6 months we have faced invasion, but here, at Albion, we will make our stand.
Welcome to the October update for Kalidasia Media Productions. I'm Jason, the creator of the Kalidasia Universe, and in the next few minutes, let's talk about some of the things I'm working on for Kalidasia Fleet Commander, as well as Legends of Kalidasia. And first up here in my hands is an early revision of the upcoming release for Kalidasia Fleet Commander. It's the first expansion to the game, and it's going to introduce 2 new planets. First up here is Albion 8. This is a manufacturing world in the Albion Prefecture. And then we've got Cadre 3. And Cadre 3 is one of the seats of political power in the Albion Prefecture. Now, both these planets have some interesting special rules to go along with them. You can see here, these cards are some of the early revisions that I was using for playtesting. It's going to change a little bit. I'm actually going to raise the point values for victory conditions for the Heragul you see on this card. What I discovered is when you get into some of the larger battles for Kalidasia Fleet Commander, what happens is, since the Heragul player has more stuff starting on the board, the Surakari had more of a disadvantage very early on in the game, and it's a little bit easier for the Heragul player to rack up points early on. So, whereas here, for example, Cadre 3 is right now at 14 points, it's probably going to go up to 15 points for the final release. And what I'm thinking, Albion 8, what says 16 points currently in this card, is probably going to go up to 18 points for the victory conditions of the final release. But that'll all be determined over the next few play tests. But let me talk quickly about some of the new cool special rules we got going on here. For Cadre 3, this is a political planet. You know, it's all about political power. It doesn't really manufacture things, no mining, no agriculture really. So its big thing is a no export special rule. The Heragul player cannot send outbound convoys to score points from this planet. It's quite an interesting twist on the typical kind of play style of Kalidasia Fleet Commander, so it should make things a little bit interesting. Conversely, it has unlimited imports. You can call in as many incoming convoys as you want, but there are limits on how many of those can be military escorts and things like that, and those details will be shown in the final release of the game. For Albion 8, I've got one specific thing to manufacturing worlds. It's called Increased Production. Increased Production is a new action Heragul player can take to score additional points. The idea is they're kind of pushing their factory workers to crank out more stuff as the Surakari bear down on the planet. But there is a side effect to it. They get a little too over-aggressive with it. What will happen is it'll actually damage them and reduce the chances they can have to win the game. And of course, High Command is a really cool one. This is the one that allows you to deploy 2 blue units throughout the game. In Kalidasia Fleet Commander, blue units are your big boys, the battle cruisers. Normally you can only have 1, but in Albion 8, each player can deploy 2, but be very careful. The second one you lose is going to really cost you in terms of victory points. And now at this point, you're looking inside Blender. This is the program I use to design all the miniatures for Kalidasia. And what you can tell, obviously, from what you're seeing in this shot is you're looking at a halfway completed new design of the Surakari Hydrus battlecruiser. This is the last of the 6 original miniatures. It needs to get a new refresh, and it's going to be coming out here pretty soon. I should be finishing this up and sending it out to get a original print of it done probably by the end of the year. So maybe late 2017, early 2018, you're going to see the new Hydrous. And you can tell here, it's definitely got a lot more detail. This one over here on the left, that is the new Hydrous. Over here on the right is kind of the old one I'm using for scale purposes. And also, if I zoom in, the armor panels are actually much more in line with what you see on the Heroes of the Heragul token for the Hydrous. So that's definitely been the inspiration for this particular miniature. And let me see if I actually, yep, there you go. If I go into top view and zoom down, you can tell I've actually got the token from Heroes of the Heragul loaded up into the Blender viewport here, and I'm using that to build the various armor panels. Also, for Heroes of the Heragul, we're now looking at creating the expansion that's going to have the Colayth Guard in it. This is the first expansion of the Legends of Kalidasia Heroes of the Heragul, and the big thing is it's bringing the Colayth Guard into 2nd edition. So what you see here is, oh, well, this is definitely a 2nd edition card, but decked out in the Colayth Guard colors with their logo right here. This is still pretty early on in the development, so what the stats you see here are almost certainly not going to be final to some extent. The points values for sure. I'm going to tweak some other things. I know I'm definitely going to make some changes to the flak batteries down here. In 1st edition, they were a little bit overpowered, so I'm going to go ahead and tone them down a little bit, but also by toning them down, it's going to make the Larkin Fighter a little bit more of a reasonable choice and make it something you're going to have to take alongside your warships to provide cover for them. Well, that's been the October update for Kalidasia Media Productions. I'm Jason, the creator of the Kalidasia Universe. For more information on the tabletop games, you can head over to the game's website at kalidasia.com, and thanks for watching.
For 6 months we have faced invasion, but here, at Albion, we will make us stand.